Thanks to the Catholic Church, certain monasteries preserved the cultural treasures which would later provide the foundations for the revival of economic activity. In some places, certain cities or burghs obtained security privileges and began to do business again. But we must get into our time machine and travel almost 1,000 years to the 14th century to encounter our second example of banking development. For practically everything was forgotten. Cities were reduced to ruins. Libraries were burnt. Documents disappeared. Business contracts and practices were forgotten. We are talking about 1,000 years of obscurantism. Our second historical example is that of bankers in the late Middle Ages. We have documentary evidence that in the medieval period, banking activity re-emerged. Initially, around a number of military religious orders formed to assist in the Crusades. The most important of these was the Templar order. The Order of the Templars was founded in Jerusalem in the year 1119 to protect pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. The Templars were very powerful. They were a religious military order. They had monasteries, or if you prefer, agencies, throughout Europe. The Templars were active internationally. They had 9,000 centers and 2 headquarters. They were a powerful religious order, but also a skillful military force, because they were a private army, so to speak. Therefore, it should not surprise us that citizens trusted the Templars, especially in turbulent medieval times, to guard their deposits of money. So, at the same time, the order also became a bank that received demand or sight deposits. And the evidence we have shows that the Templars generally acted correctly with respect to these deposits. But oh, ladies and gentlemen, they aroused envy, especially in the authorities, and particularly in the King of France, Philip the Fair, who realized that the Templars were guarding enormous treasures. Well, nothing better than to falsely accuse them of heresy, put an end to the order, and keep the treasures, which is precisely what happened. The authorities forced the Pope to sign the sentence based on the false accusation. Very recently, the Catholic Church has uncovered the files from the Templars' unfair trial. As a result of the trial, the heads of the order were put to death. Jacques de Molay, the Grand Maître of the Templars, was sentenced to be burned at the stake. And once the order was dissolved, the authorities, specifically the King of France, appropriated all of the wealth. Well, we have to move on, and we will now skip a couple of centuries and focus on a series of Mediterranean cities. They were independent cities. They had gained autonomy. Property was well guarded inside their walls. A class of urban craftsmen and merchants emerged. The cities began to trade with each other, and also with the Orient. They reached a level of prosperity very similar to that of ancient Rome, because in a way they replicated the circumstances that had led to the affluence of the classical world 1,000 years earlier. They were Italian cities on the Adriatic, especially Venice, and other Italian cities like Pisa and Florence, and even cities in Spain like Barcelona and Valencia. And the following scenario again unfolded. Bankers who accepted money on deposit began to appear. At first they behaved honestly. Later they began to feel the temptation to appropriate a portion of their depositors' money. This resulted in speculative bubble periods, which inevitably ended in financial crises and economic recessions.